welcome to a brand new month. We are going to be talking all about creativity. Creativity is using your imagination to do something new. Our God is so creative. God created the birds in the sky to the fish in the sea, the highest mountains, the lowest valleys, and of course, each of us in this room. It's like we read in our memory verse this month, Ephesians 2:10. We are God's creation. He created us to belong to Christ Jesus. Now we can do good works. Long ago, God prepared these works for us to do. Ephesians 2:10. Now that's a really long one, so let's start with the important words. How about the sign for Jesus? Christ Jesus. That's an easy one to remember. Say it with me. Christ Jesus. Okay, the sign for God is like this. So it's like you're making praying hands, but only using one. So you'll bring it from your forehead to your chin. That's how we say God. And if our whole month is about creativity, we should probably know how to sign that. So we're going to take two fists and go bump, bump. So you're going to start with them forward and tap once. And then you're going to spin them in and tap again. So that's creative, creation, or create. What about when we talk about ourselves? Oh, we did that last month. Point to one side of your shoulder and then swoop and point to the other one. So we can use that for we and for us. A couple more. Put two hands up and knock them down. That's the sign for can. Part of our verse says, now we can. So very confidently put those down. Now we can do what? Oh, do good works. So good, you're going to touch your chin and bring it down. Good. And you're going to catch it in your other hand. Good. And then you're going to make two fists again. You're going to tap your top one onto your wrist of the other. Kind of like you're hammering something or checking the watch on your hand. That's works. So good works. One more. It says that God prepared these works for us. So you're going to cross your fingers like you're hoping for something, and you're going to swoop them. So cross your fingers, and swoop is prepared, right? Like you're hoping and looking ahead, but working to get there. So I think that's most of them. Let's try putting it together, and we'll add in a couple of the filler signs as we go. Starting at the beginning. We are God's creation. He created us to belong to Christ Jesus. Now we can do good works. Long ago, God prepared these works for us to do. And that's Ephesians 2:10. With such a long verse, we need to do it again. We are God's creation. He created us to belong to Christ Jesus. Now we can do good works. Long ago, God prepared these works for us to do. Ephesians 2:10. Sometimes people think that they aren't creative, but the truth is that God made each of us in His image. And since God is creative, we know that each of us is creative, even though it might not always look the same. Let's sing another song about how God made us this way. spent the last year starting at the very beginning of the Bible and going all the way till after Jesus went back to heaven and the Church of Jesus followers was formed. Today, we're going to take a break and go back to the beginning of the Bible, in the book of Genesis. This book describes how God made the world and everything in it. You see, in the beginning, there was nothing. Nothing except God. God was in the midst of the nothingness, and God had a plan. God spoke into that dark nothingness and called out, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw that the light was good. He separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day. He called the darkness night. There was evening and there was morning. It was day one. But God was just getting started. Check out what God said next. God said, "Let there be a huge space between the waters. Let it separate water from water." And that's exactly what happened. God made the huge space between the waters. He separated the water under space from the water above it. God called the huge space sky. There was evening, and there was morning. It was day two. Then God got to work again. God said, "Let the water under the sky be gathered into one place. Let dry ground appear." And that's exactly what happened. God called the dry ground land. He called all the water that was gathered together seas. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let the land produce plants. Let them produce their own seeds. And let there be trees on the land that grow fruit with seeds in it. Let each kind of plant or tree have its own kind of seeds." And that's exactly what happened. God saw that it was good. There was evening and there was morning. It was day three. Then God said, "Let there be lights in the huge space of the sky. Let them separate the day from the night. Let the lights set the times for the holy celebrations and the days and the years. Let them be lights in the huge space of sky to give light on earth." And that's exactly what happened. God also made the stars. God put the lights in the huge space of the sky to give light on the earth. He put them there to rule over the day and the night. He put them there to separate light from darkness. God saw that it was good. There was evening and there was morning. It was day four. Then God made fish and birds. As we read here in Genesis, God said, "Let the seas be filled with living things. Let birds fly above the earth across the huge space of the sky." So God created the great sea creatures. He created every kind of living thing that fills the seas and moves about in them. He created every kind of bird that flies. And God saw that it was good. God blessed them. He said, "Have little ones, so there will be many of you. Fill the water in the seas. Let there be more and more birds on earth." There was evening and there was morning. It was day five. And what happened next? Oh, God said, "Let the land produce every kind of living creature. Let there be livestock and creatures that move along the ground and wild animals." And that's exactly what happened. God made every kind of wild animal. He made every kind of livestock. He made every kind of creature that moves along the ground. And God saw that it was good. But day 6 wasn't finished yet. What are we missing? Oh, right. God made people. God said, "Let us make human beings so they are like us. Let them rule over the fish in the seas and the birds in the sky. Let them rule over the livestock and all the wild animals. And let them rule over all the creatures that move along the ground." So God created human beings in His own likeness. He created them to be like Himself. He created them as male and female. The first people, Adam and Eve, were created in the image of God. God blessed them and told them to have children and take care of the world. And God gave them every kind of plant for food. God saw everything he had made, and it was good. There was evening and there was morning. It was day 6. On day 7, do you know what God did? That's right. God rested from all of that amazing, brilliant, creative work. As we think about how God made the entire world and everything in it, we remember that God is bigger and more creative than we could ever imagine. Yet God knows and deeply cares for every single one of us. You were made in the image of God. That means you were created to reflect who God is, to the whole world around you, in your very own way. God is endlessly creative, which means that you were made to be creative too. God created you so you can be creative. God had a big creative plan from the very beginning. God created the world and everything we see. God also had a creative plan to one day send Jesus to rescue us. When we remember how big God's plan is, it reminds us that we can trust God no matter what. Adam and Eve were a very important part of God's creation. God created people to be creative. And that's also true for us today. You were created to reflect a little bit of who God is to the world around you. God created you so you can be creative. Say that with me. God created you so you can be creative. You might show your creativity by painting, or by writing a song, or having a great sense of humor. You might show your creativity by solving tough problems, or finding a new way to help a friend or someone in need. God created you so you can be creative. There are so many ways to be creative. If you aren't sure how God wired you to be creative, ask God to show you. You can also ask your friends and your family because they might see something you don't. God created you so you can be creative. Let's head up to small group and talk more about how God created us to be creative.